In our current affairs videos from the session December 2020, we are considering this topic named as Electricity Rights of Consumers Rules 2020. The main aim of choosing this topic is that, as we have observed in UPSC prelims, there is a repetition of such rules regarding to the environment, regarding the solid waste management, and many questions have been repeated from years to years with respect to the rules. So any upcoming rules and regulations or acts and bills would be important for our UPSC preparation. That is why we have chosen this Electricity Rules 2020 for the complete discussion. So we will see what are the provisions given by the government with respect to the electricity to the consumers, and how these new rules will help the consumers to get the reliable, continuous, safer electricity from 24/7. So we'll see the complete discussion on it. Well, why this is a news? Because the government recently notified rules that would allow consumers in India to access a continuous supply of quality, reliable electricity. The quality and the reliability of the electricity is what government is mainly urging for. So this was in news because government told it. And what is it about, and what are the promising for the reliability is that the distributions of licensee shall supply 24/7 power to all consumers, and the government may specify lower hours to supply some categories of consumers like agriculture. So there might be a lower supply to such categories of agriculture. So that is why the distribution could be distributed, the distribution can be given to everybody comparing to the people who are not using it. Such that the corporates, the urban electricity consumption would be increased. So to ensure compliance, the government will apply penalties that will be credited to the consumer's account. So the penalties will be credited to the consumer's account. Then this was about the provisions given. So what is this bill? What is this rules actually telling about is that these are the new rules promulgated which lay down the rights of powers of consumer in the country. So mainly we are talking about the powers which a consumer exists with him with respect to electricity is getting in his home, and it will benefit 30 crore existing and prospective consumers in the country. What is the main aim of bringing these rules with respect to electricity is that to empower the consumers of electricity, and added that these rules emanate from the conviction that the power systems exist to serve the consumer, and the consumer will have the rights to get reliable services and quality electricity. The main aim is that the quality of the electricity should increase from previous years. How we faced power cuts, shutdown, that should not be continued, and the quality electricity should be provided to the every consumer of India. Then the new rules shall ensure that new electricity connections, refunds and other services are given in a time-bound manner, such that when the consumption is less and when the consumption is nil in a home, the refunds, the arrears which is put on electricity bill is all refunded back in a time-bound manner, and willful disregard for consumers' right will result in levying penalties on service providers. So this penalties is a usual thing, such that when you don't subscribe to the electricity bills or subscribe to their services, you would be levied by the penalties. So this was about the main highlights of Electricity Rights of Consumers Rules 2020. Then what are the key areas covered in this rules? What are the key areas we are actually talking about? So there are many key areas which is discussed in this rules. The main thing is rights and obligations given to the consumer. See, it is a duty of every distribution licensee to supply electricity, is it not? It is a duty for every licensee to give the proper electricity such that the works get better and the development of the institution or any place would also increase, and continuous electricity helps in the faster pace of the work. So that is why rights and obligations of a licensee should be given properly, and the promises in the line with the provisions of the Act. So licensee is in provision with the Act. And then it is the right of consumer to have minimum standards of services for supply of electricity from distribution licensee. So the consumer can have this services for supply of electricity by the distribution licensee itself. So these were the rights and obligations. Then the release of new connection and modification in an existing connection. So it is talking about all the variants. See, we first talked about the rights and the obligation of a consumer so that he is getting the connection directly from the licensee. Then we are also talking about the other variability, that is release of new connection. So whenever a new connection is needed, what does it happen? So transparent, simple and time-bound processes. It is transparent, simple and time-bound processes in the new rules. Then the applicant has an option for online application and a maximum time period of 7 days in a metro cities. So this is a very fast time when compared to 14 to 15 days, 2 months, 3 months, 7 days is a very lesser time, and 15 days in other municipal areas and 30 days in rural areas identified to provide new connections and modify an existing connection. So this, the easing of the processes, the lesser number of days makes it so unique that the new connection could be get in a faster pace. So the governance of this new connections is also increased. It's in a faster manner also. Then what is about the metering? No connection shall be given without a meter. Yeah, meter is compulsory. No connection would be given without a meter. Meter shall be the smart prepayment meter or prepayment meter. Provisions of testing of meters. What is the provisions? Is that provisions for replacement of defective or burnt or stolen meters specified. So meter is necessary for any new connections, and any casualties with respect to the meters will also be rectified. Then billing and payments. What is it talking about the billing and payment? Metering section is that it is very clear. You have to take a new meter for every new connection. What is it telling about the billing and payments? It is telling that transparency in applicable consumer tariffs and bill. A consumer shall have the option to pay bill online or offline. Provision for advance payments of bills. Even it could be internet banking, it could be online. Nowadays, all the UPI interfaces apps are taking up this bills payment in a very good manner, such that they get the alerts, they get the monthly alerts, daily alerts with respect to the payment of bills of electricity. So they are interfacing with online and offline platforms also. Then, reliability of supply. What is this we are talking? Reliability of the supply is what the new rules is urging for. Reliability in the sense, the distribution licensee shall supply 24/7 powers to all consumers. However, the Commission may specify lower hours of supply for some categories of consumers like agriculture, where the usage of electricity is little lesser when compared to the other urban usage or corporate platforms. So, the distribution licensee shall put in a place a mechanism, preferably with automated tools to the extent possible for monitoring and restoring outages. So, that is why the reliability and supply is a must. So, reliability, it is reliable, and the electricity is promised for 24/7. That is what the new rules is telling about. Then, what is a consumer as a prosumer? What is this? Well, this concept is a new concept which is introduced in this rules. Consumer as a prosumer. See, the prosumer will maintain consumer status itself and have the same rights as the general consumer. They will also have the right to set up RE generation units, including rooftop, solar, voltaic, PF systems, either by himself or through a service provider. Net metering for loads up to 10 kilowatts and for gross metering of load up to 10 kilowatts are permitted for the prosumer. So it's just like a consumer, but you can set up that RE generation stations wherever it is required. So this was about the consumer as a prosumer also. You can set up hotspots, you can set up the photovoltaic systems and generate electricity for the remote places also. So this was about consumer as a prosumer. Then what it is talking about the disconnection and what it is talking about the grievances redressal mechanism. So whenever there is a sudden power cut, whenever there is a electric shock, whenever there is a casualty taking place in a place, and what is this rules giving, assuring the consumers about it. So the disconnection and the reconnection provisions are reliability of the supply, standards of performance will be maintained. If the disconnection is done, it would be replaced in a 7 days manner such that we get the electricity in a proper manner. And then compensation mechanism, what is it telling about the compensation mechanism? Automatic compensation shall be paid to the consumers for which parameters on standards of performance can be monitored remotely. Call centers for consumer services are also provided. So you're getting it. Now, there is a good compensation mechanism is also specified in this rule. So that is why reliability of the electricity would increase gradually. Then grievance redressal mechanism a best solution for any electricity related problems. Grievance redressal mechanism is set up. Consumer Grievance Redressal Forum CGRF to include consumer and prosumer representatives. The consumer grievance redressal have been made easy by making it multi-layered. So that you don't have to worry about any problem. If there is electricity leakages, if a wire is cut down, you have a multi-layered platforms so that your grievances could be addressed for that solution only. So for that question, you'll have a particular person to handle it. That is what grievance redressal mechanism helps us. So that a particular specified person, specified authorities will be specified to the specified solutions and difficulties. That is how reliability of any product would be increased. So grievance redressal mechanism, we can use this example for any answers, for any conclusions or for any way forward. Giving a grievance redressal mechanism is a very best option to any organization or any authorities for its matter. Then the representatives have been increased from 1 to 4. So as I told, representatives are also increasing in number so that specified problems will be targeted in a very lesser time and the solution are derived for it. So this was about the provisions provided in the Electricity Rights of Consumers Rule 2020. So this is a very detailed explanation of what it consists of and how the consumer as a prosumer can use it to the best and reliability on the supply would increase. So this was about electricity rules. So for any kind of current service videos and any infographics, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel, IAS Academy. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. You can join our Telegram channel as well. To get the daily current affairs, daily quizzes, daily mains answer rating, you can log on to our website www.believersias.com and register for some foundational courses such that you get a complete information about UPSC examination. So thank you. Welcome.